I'm attempting to confirm whether or not there is a discrepancy in my piston size and piston jig. This is the model piston much of the design is based on. We'll just copy that. Oh, actually group it. Copy. And use this to reference on the jig. This shows where the air channel should go through the piston. So what we'll do, so just bring it up here, line it up. So this should allow you to pin the piston in place, drill a hole through it. On the side note, one end of the piston is longer than the other. So that appears that the piston jig is correctly aligned. However, that doesn't tell us the whole story. So we'll just take this and move it on to another one of the frames here. We need to make sure, this is one of my planning frames here, or pages. The way I build the engines is in kind of layers around a given part. And then I kind of break that out for the plan. So you can kind of see a linkage, cylinders, and really these are more based around the travel of the piston. So we have to make sure our piston actually is the same size as the one in the planning, because sometimes when you are making these, where to paste in here, there we go. So I just want to make sure that lines up. So we'll set the center of this guy to here. Okay, it appears this piston is the right length. You can tell with the travel all the way in that it's slightly recessed into the piston cylinder. Let's see, we can add a little line on here. That'll be a reference for our next step. So now that we know that our piston, I guess that wasn't completely straight, but that's good enough for our test here. But we can see that our piston is the right length and lines up correctly with the hole in the piston block, the engine block. Let's see here, do we want to take that? No. And our piston back. Let's just move it. We'll group that together. We can see that we're at an angle of 134, so let's just group that. Gets us back to about there. Let's cut that. Now we're going to go to the page that has the engine block to make sure the engine block actually comes out to these right dimensions. Let's see, where is that? Right here. Paste. So what we'll do here now is just line this up with the inner hole. We should see that the travel appears to be correct. That this would line up to the same recessed depth as we saw in the planning diagram. So that looks good so far. The other things that can throw off the travel of the piston would be, let's see, the part that mounts the crankshaft. So we'll just take one of these guys, go back to the layer, to the page that that I was using for planning here. Paste that in. See, we need to find the layer. Let's just turn on all the layers here. Make sure that actually matches up with that. That does, and it matches up and it's centered. The last piece that we might want to check is the connecting rod here. To make sure that matches up with the length of the connecting rods we made. This time I'm going to just take it from here and see if I can't find the page for that. The plans themselves don't include those planning pages that I use to develop the plans. Alright, paste it in here. There we go, right there. Alright. We'll just center's right there, that's fine. Move that to here. Rotate it out. Make sure it lines up. Looks good. So at this point I'm not really seeing an issue with the length of the piston, but I may have not understood the question.